So you just wrote and directed I'm Your Woman, and you were inspired by gritty crime and noir films from the 1970s. But instead of focusing on, traditionally male protagonists, you decided, hey, it's much more interesting to look at sort of how these things affect women. Talk to me a little bit about what specific films and characters inspired and influenced your writing and direction.
When I was watching a bunch of those movies, I kept being so struck by how they all have some of like the greatest actresses of all times playing these little supporting roles, and how much I would have loved to have seen them have their own whole movie, as much as I love those movies. But specifically Tuesday Weld as Jessie in Thief, Diane Keaton as Kay in The Godfather.
Of course.
I was also really intrigued by Teresa Wright's performance in Straight Time. Ally McGraw in The Getaway, obviously more of the film is hers, but I still was very inspired by that movie. And then also Wanda was another one that we looked at. We definitely looked at a couple of films like Wanda and Clute that had more of a female protagonist, and obviously Wanda being directed by Barbara Loden and a woman is obviously its own thing, but it's such a unicorn in terms of those films. So yeah, it was really fun, like just looking at how well written and how well performed those parts are, but how small they are, and they each deserve their own movie. So we decided to pay tribute to them by creating Jean.
Rachel and Marcia Stephanie, you both have done period pieces before, obviously with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and then When They See Us. Talk to me a bit about getting into the mind of the 1970s woman.
Yeah, well, Jean is pretty sheltered. So in terms of the 1970s woman, it feels like the most 1970s thing about her is that she has a very 1970s sense of what her dream is. She dreams of being a housewife and to live in a beautiful house and to have a family, and that dream becomes crushed, and it's extremely traumatic for her. But outside of that, Jean lives in her own little bubble.
Right. What about you, Marcia Stephanie?
I don't, I'm not sure that the 1970s woman is that much different, really, sort of in her brain.
Yeah.
Than, the current woman. I think just what we were allowed to do, what my mom and my aunts were allowed to do is a lot different. But at the end of the day, I know that when I speak to them, they sound like they had all the same impulses and drive and dreams that we do now. It's just that it was stymied. It was like cut off or held back because of society or what have you. And what's really kind of wonderful about Terry is we're seeing her on the other side of this. We're seeing someone who may have been Jean, the housewife who had, she thought were her duties and things she had to fulfill, and a life she had to lead to fulfill this American dream or what have you. And then she realized that wasn't going to happen. So she's figured out a different way to live it. And she's happier, she's happier, she feels more fulfilled. And it's, then she has to come back and help Jean to realize her own potential.
You play Cal in I Am Woman, which is a very awesome, or I'm Your Woman, excuse me, which is a very, it's a callback to 1970s crime films.
Yes.
How did you specifically get involved in this film?
I got a script at the end of one week and found that it was a brilliant story. and I was like, I would love to speak to the director, and so I had a call set up to speak to Julia Hart, and she told me some more about it, what would be, how she kind of, what her vision it was for it, and I was really sold. One, the story is really brilliant, it's really important. I really wanted to help tell this story. And then also, in addition, learning that Rachel Brosnahan and Marcia Stephanie Blake, I'd be performing with these guys. It was a no-brainer. I had to be a part of it.
Cal is very reserved at first, but you can definitely tell that he's seen some shit. comes to deeply care about Jean, played by Rachel
Yeah.
Brosnahan. Talk to me about how you guys bonded on set, because there's gotta be, I mean, the scenes are so intense that there's gotta be, you know, something going on behind the scenes that you guys did to bond.
Well, I think it's just Rachel's a really generous performer, you know, and she's also a really welcoming and open person. And so with people like that, you really uh, you bond very quickly and easily as well, because they're kind of like she was just ready to roll, you know, and I'm that way as well, you know. I kind of, my shutters are always down, you know, well, or up rather. Yeah, my shutters are always up, you know. I'm always open for business and open to engage and to connect.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think you're right. I think these characters do, you know, they have seen some shit, you know, and they've been to dark places. And so in order for us to really kind of deliver this story, we had to be pretty open, you know, as performers with each other.
Julia Hart specifically referenced 70s crime dramas and noir films as an influence for this film. I was wondering if you guys took any characters or even character traits from some of those movies and implemented them into your own characters.
Yeah. So when I first met with Julia, she told me that I should watch the movie Thief by Michael Mann, which I, after watching, can't believe that I had never seen before.
Yeah, it's great.
And I know that she drew a lot of inspiration from that film, and particularly from Tuesday Weld's character, who is so electric and interesting and disappears as soon as the action begins.
Right.
So I definitely spent quite a bit of time watching and rewatching scenes from Thief and looking at Tuesday Weld. They're not the same character by any means, but
No.
but she's the one who said, "I'm your woman."
I had a chat with Julia and she described it to me so beautifully. She kind of described it as, you know, so the characters were familiar to me anyway, because we see these characters in like, you know, your traditional, the mob movies that we're used to, the gangster movies we're used to seeing, whether it be Casino or Goodfellas, you know, but except these characters normally are on the outskirts, you know, they're kind of on the edges of these movies, and they're one dimensional. You get to see them for a little bit. But what Julia had done was she had she angled the camera towards these characters and kind of went on a journey with those guys, and so yeah, so they were familiar with me, to me, you know. It was just about like really getting to tell their story.
What about you, Marsha, Stephanie?
You know, I grew up watching a lot of these crime dramas with my dad, and I remember thinking that whenever there was, and this is complete ridiculous, but the idea of being able to break into a car, I was obsessed with that moment. I couldn't wait to do it. I wanted it to, and I kept trying to do it for real. And they were trying to explain to me like, yeah, but you know what, for the camera, you don't actually have to really break into the car. We can make it look like you did. But I was determined to actually figure out how to break into this car. And it was like little stuff like that, you know, wearing the coat, wearing the clothes of these women. I felt really tall and powerful. I felt like Pam Grier in one of my coat that I wear into the club. I was just like, yeah, like bring it, you know. And it was just like this outfit that made that happen. But it's like little moments that give you a weird empowerment, and it can come from anywhere, you know. But for me,
for the record, Marsha Stephanie did break into that car.
And I broke into the car. I really did. I really figured out how to break into the car.
And then taught me how to do it.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Julia, you have 2 movies that have come out this year, which I'm sure has been like absolutely crazy. Obviously, I'm Your Woman, and then Stargirl. 2 very different movies, but also very much centered on women. Talk to me about transitioning from one film to another, and sort of what things did you sort of take from film to film, and what you'll take into your next film?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. We made them like almost exactly a year apart. And on Stargirl, my younger son was 8 weeks old when we made it.
Oh, wow.
And then he was like just a little over a year when we made I'm Your Woman. And so I kind of mark movies by the age of my kids when I was making them. But I'm what I'm most interested in as a filmmaker is telling female stories within different genres. Right. And so it's so fun. Like I got to make a Disney musical, and I got to like throw myself completely into that and my crew into that. and we flexed a whole bunch of different muscles. And then a year later, we turned around and went and flexed totally different set of muscles on making a crime drama. So it's really fun to immerse yourself completely in the genre and the history of that genre, and then just like pack up and go do something completely different. I think life is really short, and it's really fun to learn as much as I can about all the different types of films that people are crazy enough to let me make.